Hi everyone, I'm recording this on the 31st of March 2020. That's day 5 of the South African lockdown. You'll probably be seeing this in the morning of day 6. The first video in our series was just an introduction into the video series that we will be presenting over the next couple of weeks. And today we're going to speak a little bit more about what it means to establish a wellness schedule. So as much as work and studies very much goes on, as we discussed before, some of you might feel that there's more time available to you than is normally the case. And for some of you, this is something that would fill you with excitement. You would think, well, this is an opportunity to watch all the Netflix I've wanted to watch. Or some of you might be having a different emotional reaction, which is one based more on anxiety and fear of these empty hours and how to fill them over the next couple of weeks. So both of these are reasonable, legitimate responses, and it doesn't really matter which camp you fall into. Either way, right now seems to be a good opportunity to evaluate the way that you are spending your time and develop a working plan to manage it more effectively over the next few weeks. So on that note, the reality of our normal lives is that we have structure imposed on us. So if we're working, we're told exactly what time we're expected to be at work, when we're expected to take lunch, when we're expected to leave, when our meetings are, when to pick up the kids, if we're studying full time, when our lectures are, when the workshops are happening. Of course, a lot of that has fallen away right now, which means the responsibility falls on us to now impose structure on ourselves and on our own days. And if we neglect to do this and meander through the next few weeks, then there is a danger that we are not going to be as productive as we might be. We might miss out on opportunities for growth and development on a personal level. And we also might compromise our mental well-being, our mental wellness. So what we know is that humans need structure and they need purpose and they need to feel organized and useful. Without this, we can become listless, we can become demotivated and sometimes even depressed. So taking 10 minutes right now just to develop a wellness schedule is a pretty good investment in your well-being. Psychological literature that we have on wellness describes it as an optimal level of health and fitness that allows us to function actively across different areas in our life, whether it's our spirituality, our intellectual pursuits, our emotional well-being, and our physical health as well. So a wellness schedule is not just an itinerary of how we're spending our time, but rather it places the emphasis on introducing activities that promote our well-being. What I would really suggest is take some time right now perhaps to write down your schedule. This is an important part of the process as opposed to just mentally conceptualizing it, because it allows you to, for one, it makes it more real, but it also allows you to evaluate it and to edit it and to see what's working and what's not working. You know, when we see something in front of us, we can have a different perspective of it than if it's just something we're conceptualizing in our mind. So that's something I'd suggest you do as soon as you finish watching this video. So I'm just going to go through a few points just to think about when you are setting up a schedule and what the important things to remember and the important benchmarks in your day should be. So first off, you want to start your day at a reasonable hour. So we know sleep is important, of course, but we also know that too much sleep or too little sleep is detrimental to your health. It's detrimental to your energy levels and also to your emotional well-being as well and your mood level. So generally it depends on your age. People are different as you go through life. People are expected to need less sleep, but often what we're looking at in terms of the gold standard of sleep is 8 hours. If you're getting 8 hours of sleep, you're doing pretty well. And then define the hours of your working day clearly. So once you have scheduled, the first hour or two of your day, make a very set starting time for your day to start, whether it's 8 o'clock or 8:30. Obviously, this has to align with the expectations from your employer, from your academic institution. But that's important, having a starting time and having an ending time and having lunch, because it clearly demarcates the day and it doesn't allow this kind of creep of work into times that are going to be important for winding down or for taking care of other responsibilities that you might have. This allows you to be more productive in the times that you are dedicating to work as well, those hours during the day, whether it be working or studying. When you're thinking about your schedule, introducing a workout is a very important thing to consider. Exercise has a number of benefits. I mean, the endorphins are going to be very good for your mood. They're going to contribute to a feeling of accomplishment. that you've achieved something as well. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're probably going to sleep better as well. So the hardest part about any type of exercise, or anything that takes a bit of discipline, is often just starting. So once you can start it, that's much of the battle won already. And as they always say, no one ever regrets a workout. Just in terms of thinking about your work week as well, that's important. So if you're going to be working 7 days a week, that is a recipe for burnout potentially. You need to have balance there, and demarcating the weekends and separating from the weeks is a good way of taking some time off, and again allowing you to be productive in the hours that you are working, in the days that you are working. So these boundaries reinforce a kind of psychological expectation, and this is important in establishing normalcy in what is a fairly abnormal time for a lot of us. And then you can save the chores that you were meant to be doing, household jobs or projects. You can do those on the weekend. You can spend time with your family, braaiing. You can watch movies more. That allows for the split between your two areas of life. Shower, get dressed in the morning, get up. Don't spend 3 weeks or more in your pajamas. That's not going to be very good for your motivation levels or your feeling of pride. That's going to be important. You want to combat the feelings of lethargy that can come when you're spending a lot of time in one place. And the way you dress is actually quite an important part of that as well. But on that note, of course, embrace the positives of working and studying from home. So you can take 10 minutes out in your day, in the morning, for example, to spend some time with your family. To if you're fortunate enough to have a garden, to spend time in the garden, and to go out, even if you don't, to spend some time in the sun. That's really important as well. What you want to do is you want to own the experience. You want to make it yours. You want to own your workspace as well. Make it a space that you can really enjoy being in, and differentiate it again, demarcate it from, if possible, from the rest of your living area. So don't put it in the same area as your recreational area or shared space, or a sleeping space, your own personal space. What you want to do is you want to clearly demarcate those boundaries as well. And this again is about reinforcing those psychological boundaries. So of course, a wellness schedule means taking time in your schedule for self-development as well, on a personal level. So there may be a musical instrument that's been lying around your house that you wanted to learn but never had the opportunity. That this presents a time and a space for that. Potentially, you might find that you've been wanting to learn a language. If you're feeling ambitious, that might be something. There's so many YouTube tutorials that we have at our disposal now. If you're going to dedicate half an hour or so every day to that, you're going to be pretty accomplished at whatever it is that you decide to invest your time in by the time you get to the end of this process. That again, it contributes to this feeling of purpose, and it contributes to this feeling of progress and development. And that's going to be really important over the next few weeks, I think, because you want to balance that with just kind of falling right into work or any type of academic pursuits as well. It's very important, especially if you are not necessarily in a lockdown in a very full house. Maybe it's just you, or maybe just you and one other person, to connect with other people through video consultation or video chat. That's different from text-based chats, and that allows us to have a sense of connection that we wouldn't normally get through other forms of communication, and technologically, that is. So that's really important, because we know as mammals we are gregarious animals. We need to be able to connect with people on that level. These are the kind of psychological needs that humans have. So being aware of that allows you to cater to those needs. And then finally, what you want to be thinking about is putting time in your day for mindful activities. So things like meditation, relaxation exercises, gratitude practices, relaxation exercises as well, journaling. These are really important processes in exploring your internal psychological experience a bit more, and understanding yourself better, but also contributing to having a more quiet mind. And that's a very important part of managing stress as well. That's really it. What I would say, as you think about these things, I might have left out a few things that are going to be really important to you. Introduce them. You have to find what works for you, as always, in these situations. And this is again an opportunity right now to turn off the autopilot that we're always on. Most of us most of the time are going through this autopilot. We wake up in the morning, we do what we need to do, see to our responsibilities and go to sleep again. This allows us to introduce the principles of living an examined life, a conscious life. So put that in your schedule. Write it down, see what it looks like, see what's missing, see where the balance is, and then change it accordingly. My name's James Sturdy. I'm with the Regent Business School Counselling Services. As always, our counselling services are still operational during this time. We're doing that by video consultation. Feel free to send an email to set up a completely confidential appointment for a counselling session. And the email address is counselling@regent.ac.za. That's counselling with 2 L's. COUNSELLING, counselling@regent. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and look out for our next video coming on Friday.